think our dancing has steadily improved each show. Hello, welcome to Run, Race, Repeat, the live show where we talk about all things running, from training to racing and all things in between. My name is Doug Pierce, coming to you from Staten Island, New York. And just like everything, my titles are working tonight, Brett.
Nothing is working
nothing,
tonight, guys.
Nothing is working tonight.
Just tonight. I mean, there's no titles. There's no. I can't see your questions, but Doug can.
I'm doing
I'm
doing it manually.
We got it.
So I'm Doug Pierce, coming to you from Staten Island, New York, and I am joined by Brett Almacy from Dover, Foxcroft, Maine. Brett, how are you doing tonight?
I'm well, Doug. I'm ready to get into this. The regrets of running, of what we did not know.
Yeah.
And before we get into it, though, I do. Well, do we have an intro? Do we have our usual intro to?
If it's working, let me see. Let me try it. You mean the check-in?
The check-in.
Yeah. So Brett briefly mentioned it before we get to the check-in. Today's topic is the things we wish we knew when we first started running. The things that would have saved us, pain and burnout,
heartbreak,
and
burnout.
Just led to a better experience training and racing. But let's see if my shortcut works. It works. You get your. Brett gets to hear his huffing and puffing.
That breathing.
I think Brett mentioned it earlier, but nothing is working tonight. So that includes bringing comments onto the stream. So if you're with us on YouTube, I'm gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way and just read your comments to the stream. So that's just the way it's going tonight. But the check-in, Brett, why don't you start us off? How did your training last week go? And by the way, let us know if you are in chat. Let us know how your training week went. We'd love to hear it. But Brett, how'd it go?
Doug, it's been going well, up to about 4 to 5 miles a day. Probably, again, every day for the last week. Incorporating weights now into my training every other day. I'm just really into the strength training part. I'm not sure why, but I'm doing more speed workouts, more accelerations. But again, the goal is, I think, by next month to be up to about 35 to 40 miles a week.
Oh, okay. So that's going to be an increase for you, isn't it? Because you've been running like 4-ish miles a day.
About 25 miles a week, yep.
Yeah, so that's a nice bump. That's going to be a nice bump for you.
Yeah, what about you, Doug?
Yeah.
What you got?
Well, so I ended up taking 2 weeks off because of my ankle to give it some extra time to heal up.
Anklegate.
Anklegate, exactly. I've been doing, you know what? I thought to myself, old Doug would have been like, I'm just going to run on it, and if it breaks, well,
whatever.
I'll just toughen
That's
it out
life,
or whatever.
Man, yeah.
But I'm like, what would I say to Brett or to somebody, watching the show if they asked, what should they do if they were in my situation? And you know what? I would say, yeah, give it more time, rest it. So I've taken 2 weeks. I did, the hop test where I hopped on that foot, the ankle. It felt good. Wasn't bothered by it. So I took the girls out in the double jogging stroller.
Oh, there we go. Did you any falls?
No, but it's funny because with the jogging stroller, it's like when the girls, it takes longer. Like when you're only doing like 3 miles, which is what I did today, it takes longer to get them out the door in the stroller with snacks and water. Like it takes longer to get out the door and going than it does to do the 3 mile run.
Well, I mean, first of all, what are the girls' favorite snacks? First of all, what's Reagan's favorite snack?
So they both like something called pirate booty, which is basically
Hey.
like a cheese popcorn almost. It's not popcorn, but it's like a cheese doodly type thing. They love that. And
Okay.
my youngest Emerson,
Emerson.
she likes fig bars.
Ooh.
She likes fig
Okay.
bars.
Okay.
So, and they don't do anything without snack. It's like they hold it over, they lord it over you. They're like, that's the
They
fee,
will not.
that's the
They will
bribe.
not go out.
Yeah, it's like,
Yep.
you want to take us out for a run, Dad? Well,
Snacky
show
poo,
us the
daddy.
snacks. Show us the snacks, and we better like them. So anyway, but the run went well. You know, it was muggy, very muggy today. So, but that's okay because it just helps slow me down, which is what I want to be doing right now, is going slow. And
Yes.
I'm feeling positive after the run because the ankle didn't really notice any issue at all. You know how it is when you've had an issue and you come back to running for the first time. You're like, it's just in your head, like you're
You
imagining
are. You are
twinges.
scar. You are scarred.
You're like
You
imagining like
are.
twinges where you had the issue, like you just can't
Oh,
stop thinking about it.
you feel something
Yeah,
in
yeah,
that area, and you think like this is it. We're back
yeah.
to the
Square
sprain, the
one.
fracture.
Yeah, yeah. So, but anyway, it felt good, and I'm hopeful that I can, I'm going to be gradually getting back kind of to the level I was doing because I was doing, 25 to 30 miles. I think a week I got to, but I'm going
Okay.
to drop the quality. I'm going to kind of, get back to where I was mileage wise, a little bit faster than I am getting back to the quality. I'm going to basically do like basic speed stuff and basic endurance stuff, which is really with no actual race other than the virtual races on the horizon, at least in my neck of the woods. Just concentrating on like the basic speed and the basic endurance is really, I
Okay.
think, the smart thing to do for me right now. Anyway, just getting the long runs up, getting the mileage up, doing some strides. Maybe do. I'm not sure what the official term is, but the straights and bends where you go to a track and you do, you run the straight almost as hard as you can go, and then you jog the bends, and then you run the straight and
Okay.
do
So
that. Do a
sort of like doing. So doing basically doing like accelerations, like
yeah.
right.
It's
Yeah.
just there's so many with running. There's so many different structures and forms of getting like the same thing. Like that kind of workout is almost just like like doing some strides at the end of your run. It's just touching on the top end speed to get your brain comfortable going faster, basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. But anyway, so yeah, 2 weeks almost entirely off from running. I'm happy to be getting back into it.
Yeah. Right on.
Yeah, speaking of getting into it, let's get into today's topic. And I will, uh, by the way, let us know what your hardest won lessons in running have been. We're very curious to
Not
hear.
just full disclosure, like just to clarify, not like your biggest regrets in life.
No, no,
I
no,
don't want
running
to hear about
related.
ex-boyfriends, ex-girlfriends. I don't want to hear that stuff. Just running related. Um,
Yeah,
tell us what
yeah,
your
yeah.
tell us what your regrets are.
Thank you for qualifying that, Brett. Yeah, so my number one that I want to start the stream off with is learn more about running and training, like the physiology of it. Learn, I wish I would have taken it upon myself to educate myself about, training for long distance running a lot earlier. I mean, Brett, you were probably the same way, and I think most, high school and college runners are this way, where you show up, you do what your coach says, and that's, it. That's you don't question your coach. You don't. I'm not telling people to go to a coach and be like, I read this training article online. We should be doing this workout a different way. I'm not saying that, but learn about like why you're doing what you're doing when it comes to training and what the principles are. Because even though every training plan is different, and there's different fads that come around every so often, the core fundamentals of distance training don't change. and they're never going to change. So, learn about them. So that way you're not just kind of blindly doing training and doing workouts. You actually understand why you're doing what you're doing. And so that way also too, in like the off season, or when you do, if you are an adult, you don't have, most likely you don't have a coach, you're self-coached. You're going to have to, think for yourself and start to, come up with training plans or select training plans. And you just need, it just pays to know why you're doing what you're doing. And I wish I would have done that a lot earlier, for reasons I'll get to later on in my list. But Brett, I don't know if you want to jump in with one of your
Yeah.
lessons you wish you'd known earlier on.
There's so many. There's so many, but I think let's start off with the basics, everybody. Even like again, if you're starting out to run and you think it comes down to basically even like what you wear is really important. A lot of runners who start off think they are wearing the correct kind of fabric, and it sounds silly, but it is a difference. Example is in high school, I ran with no, actually high school and
And
part of college.
caught me too.
And Doug did too. Cotton.
Yeah, I know. I see. I knew what you were gonna say because this is actually on my list later on. So,
Well,
yeah,
okay. So, yeah, we didn't pre-rehearse this, so like we're kind of just throwing it out there. So,
yeah. It's been one of those.
so
It's been one of
Doug,
those days.
so so Doug, add to it later. But my
Yeah,
thing is, I wore cotton, basically, like mesh shorts with like underwear, and then like
yeah,
cotton shirts,
yep,
and I got by. I did well, but guys, cotton weighs you down absolutely. You have to get the right gear. You have to get actual fabric that is going to it will make you feel more comfortable when you run. You'll basically um, it will retain the sweat more. Like you will be faster, and again more comfortable. Again,
it'll wick the sweat away more. It'll
it
dry it
will.
off
And
more.
so
Yeah,
if you're wondering like where to actually go to, I mean, there are plenty of sites. I use Nike.com, Asics.com. I believe that Roadrunner Sports, or what, Doug, what is it? I'm
Running
sorry. It's
Warehouse.
Running Warehouse is a great site that has everything you need from clothing to shoes. There are discount prices, free shipping. Get the right clothing for you, whether you are starting off as a runner or you are a pro runner. You need to be comfortable in not only when you work out, but also races you want to do.
Yeah, and I'm gonna just talk about this with you now, Brett, because yeah, like I said, this was on my list, and it's like you. I would wear basketball shorts, mesh
Oh my
basketball
God,
shorts,
b-ball
yeah,
shorts.
hanging down to past my
Oh my,
knees,
oh,
and those
like Doug.
cotton,
I mean, like you
yeah,
might as well wear a monster energy drink hat and
yeah,
like a hoodie, like
yeah,
with those friggin' mesh shorts.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, like Brett said, I mean, when you sweat in cotton, it weighs down, and not only does it not feel good, like sticking to you, you like pull it off, it sucks to your skin, but it also chafing. It contributes to a lot more chafing issues, with the
Yep.
nipples, you know what I mean? And
Bloody
it's
nipples. I'm
yeah,
just telling you right now, that
and Brett
happens.
and Brett mentioned it too. The psychological aspect is definitely a thing too, where when you are wearing, appropriate running gear that's, synthetic, made of synthetic materials, it's sweat wicking, it's very much lighter. You just feel faster wearing it because it's not like restricting your movement like, heavier fabrics do. And yeah,
Right.
that's a great one. That's a great one. And also I would kind of extend that too, Brett, from just also in like different weather, like getting appropriate gear, not just in general, but also for different like seasons. Because if you're running in a place that has cold winters and you don't want to run on a treadmill or a dreadmill, as some runners refer to them as, you want to get outside because
Yep.
that's a big allure of running to me is getting outside, getting into nature. I don't want to be stuck inside, watching ESPN Sports Center or whatever on a treadmill. I want to be outside, breathing fresh air and seeing,
Which my dog, I mean,
trees.
look, my dad will do that. I mean, he will be in the attic. He'll have his treadmill.
Right,
He'll have the
right.
TV on. I mean, that's his thing. But for you
Yeah,
and I, we want to be.
yeah.
And Doug, I will say though, guys, look, I hate to break it, but like running in cold weather, I dread it. I have tons of winter gear, and I will tell you that the average cold winter runner will have to wear at least probably 3 to 5 layers of shirts. Plus, I would honestly, and Doug, tell me if I'm wrong, but your pants also need to be like winter appropriate. There are tights. There are certain you have to wear the right kind of winter
Yeah,
pants.
yeah. So that reminds me, yeah, of a story actually. Running with you, Brad. I think we ran some winter month, and this was before I knew. There's a saying where it's not there's not inappropriate running weather. There's inappropriate running gear,
Runners.
right?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, the gear. So, and that's the thing. And like you and I, we went for this run. I don't know what month it was, but it was cold and there was a significant wind chill, and I didn't have gear. I don't think you did either. And like, so we went out there in like just shorts, and like, I think we had long sleeve shirts and like a hat, but
That's it.
like, let's just put it this way: it was not. My legs were like raw from like being so cold.
Let's put it this way for myself, Doug. When I got into the shower,
Yeah,
I instantly yelled out I was being murdered. Like it sounded like if
yeah,
people heard me in the shower, I won't tell you why, but it sounded like I was being
yeah,
I was being murdered. That's what it sounded like.
yeah, yeah. And my prospect of having children in the future, I was in doubt after that run.
I honestly, it was like a futuristic look into my future of like, will I be able to walk
Yeah,
after
yeah,
this?
yeah.
Like, will I honestly?
But moral of the story, you had the running tights you can buy, or running leggings that you can buy, which go a long way to keeping your legs warm. And you can buy, like more of like a sweat pant, like a pant, running pant type. That I have a pair of those as well. Which I have both tights now and pants, and they're both
Yeah.
great.
And Doug, I will say to everybody else who's new to the running thing, or maybe experienced to it, I do know that now there's certain sites or certain products that they will tell you, are these pants, are they the first layer, are they the only layer? Like, they'll tell you what kind of layer it is. Like, for instance, if I have tights, it might be just one layer that needs another layer. So some sites will tell you what kind of layer those pants are.
Yeah, and there's a huge debate about whether if you wear the running tights, if you just wear the running tights or you wear shorts over them. I wear shorts over them. I don't know about you.
I do. Okay, I'm sorry.
It's
Look, I wear shorts. I wear shorts under them.
under them. Okay.
I'm not a wrestler, okay, Doug. I'm not. You know. Come
Yeah.
on, I'm a runner. I'm okay with
Yeah.
wearing shorts under the tights. I know that I've had some male friends that were hesitant to wear tights. They were new
Yeah.
runners,
I think that's
and
a
they
yeah.
asked. And look, when I first started off, I thought to myself, I'm wearing really tight pants, like Rod Stewart. I'm going to a Rod Stewart concert from the '70s. Guys, look, by now people in my town know that I'm gonna wear this stuff, and like, it's fine. Just, you have, like, if you want to be serious about running, get over what people think about it. Let's rock the tights.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, and also going in the gear thing too. Oh, what's it called? Body Glide. Body Glide, I think it's called.
Body
So
Glide.
basically,
It's
lubricant for, those spots on your body that tend to chafe, especially in the summer months when you're sweating a lot. Get some Body Glide and just be generous. There's
Body Glide.
Yeah,
Yeah. Sorry, Doug.
yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say there are so many gear related things that you can get that's just gonna make your running experience so much more pleasant. And I wish I would have known about a lot of them a lot earlier, for sure.
Body Glide I use for marathons, and again, I mean, I don't, I'll be personal here, but just tell you exactly. You've got your thighs, you've got your nipples, I mean, Body Glide works because I'll tell you right now that I've not worn it in certain marathons, and by mile, 15, like I can feel like it hurts,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it affects your
Stings,
runs.
stings.
It
Yeah,
stings.
yeah,
So Body Glide, they're a great product. If you do chafe, and you will, and if you wear cotton, if you're still wearing cotton when you run, I would definitely
yeah.
absolutely get it.
That's a big one. Get some synthetic fabrics. Get some legit running gear. And the great thing about Body Glide too is it's like a deodorant stick. That's what it comes in, and so
Smells good.
it's just easy. It's just easy to
Just
rub it on, and you're good. You're good. So
just rub
yeah,
it.
yeah, exactly. So all right, let's see here. Let's go to my next on my list. Oh yeah, so this kind of ties into learning more about training theory, but I wish I would have known earlier that mileage matters a lot. A lot for certain kind of runners, more so than others. If you have, if you're like kind of like a slow twitch runner, you're not going to know this for sure unless you have a muscle biopsy done. But every runner has, a range of muscle fibers from. Everybody has them all, but everybody has a range of muscle fibers from slow twitch, intermediate, and fast twitch. And for somebody on the who has like a trends towards the slow twitch side, mileage is going to have a greater benefit for you. Increasing your mileage is going to benefit you more than almost doing any other kind of training. And I think I skew a little bit towards that end, which is why I'm talking about it to you now. And I just wish I knew that. But for all runners, no matter what their physiology, mileage matters, and it matters a lot. There's kind of like this HIIT fad, high intensity interval training fad. My boss actually at work, he bought me this book. I forget the name of it, but basically it makes the case that doing HIIT style training is better than running a lot. And I had a big problem with the book because I know that to be as fast as you can, you need to have both, right? You need to have mileage and you need to have quality where you're pushing the pace and you're doing, race, either race pace work or faster, right? You need a whole mix of things. But mileage, doing more mileage is the sure way to level yourself up as a runner. And it's almost, basically it's your foundation. The way I look at it, when you do more miles, you're widening and strengthening your base so that when it comes time to do race prep stuff, you can do more of it at a better quality and get much more fit for that race. Whereas if you don't do as much mileage, you can still get fitter doing other quality sessions, but you're not going to be able to do as much. You're not going to be able to recover as fast, and therefore your peak is not going to be as high as if you did have that nice aerobic base. So that's kind of, and because I look again, getting back to like the whole high school college thing, I had no idea how many miles I was running in high school or even college, really. Like I wasn't like tracking that. I just showed up and the coach said, go run to this point, do this loop and come back. And I know, Brett, I know that you and I in college, we were doing a fraction of the mileage that other guys were doing it. That our competitors. I'm thinking of a certain guy who would whoop us all the time from Presque Isle.
Don't say his name.
I
I
know now.
can't
I'm
even
not gonna say
hear
his
it.
name. I'm not gonna say his
No,
name.
I'll just like I just
But I know now that he was doing easily twice or more than the amount of miles we were doing. Like reading interviews with him and stuff. He was running like twice a day. He was doing doubles, all this kind of stuff. Basically, he was taking advantage of the fact that miles matter and we weren't. And a lot of people will say that, oh, you increase your mileage, you're going to get injured. It's bad for you, you're going to break your body down, you're sacrificing. I think our coach in college actually said this to us. He said, I don't, he phrased it like, I'm not pushing you guys to run as much as I could because I want you to be able to enjoy running through the rest of your life. And look, if you are like an idiot and train like an idiot and go out there and go from doing 20 miles to doing 50 miles a week, yeah, you are going to get injured. You're going to get burned out and you might ruin your body for running for the rest of your life. But if you do it the right way and you're patient and just, season after season, year after year, you're just, gradually increasing your mileage, you're doing it the right way,
right.
it's not going to break you down. It's going to make you way stronger. And so I wish I just would have known earlier that for me, mileage, and for most runners, mileage matters, and it's key. It's key. I don't know. I'm done. Well, on that point, Brett.
I'm just going to expand upon that a little bit.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, like high school and college, again, I didn't realize that that running should be almost a year-round thing. And sadly enough, in high school, I mean, I was a good runner. I could have been. I mean, I was good, but I could have been better. And I kind of like took pride in the fact that, I ran track, but overall, I was not prepared for the preseason in August, or in college. I just was not putting in the mileage. Guys, if you are, again, experienced, non-experienced, and you have a race in mind, you need to start training as soon as possible. Do not put it off. If you think that training for a month before a 5K and you want to do really well in that 5K, it's not going to happen. You need to put in the prep work months in advance. And Doug, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I would say at least 6 months in advance running consistently week by week.
I mean, there's almost no. I mean, you could. The more running you can do, the better. And I'm so glad. Thank you so much for bringing this up because this was actually something I thought about earlier, but I forgot. And that's so true. Is that to get the most out of your running and to get as fast as you can get? Yeah, it's a lifestyle. It's a all year thing. And just like you, Brett, I didn't even do track. I just ran cross country in high school. In college we didn't have track where we went, but that's all I did, and I showed up out of shape pretty much for every season. Like totally,
I mean,
overweight and
and
out of shape.
and Doug, I will tell you just like two quick things about. And I didn't learn my lesson at all.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I
no,
will say,
of course
Doug,
not.
Doug, I'll say my first day of practice in high school, my
Yeah.
first day of practice at Farmington.
Yeah.
Both had the same outcome. And to make a long story short, freshman year of high school, I was a new runner. I've never run before.
Yeah.
I didn't run all summer. I ate McDonald's, like
Yep.
I didn't care.
Yep.
And we had a 5 mile time trial in high school, and I came in last.
Yep.
And what's weird is that at the end of that season, I ended up being all state for my high school. But that first day, it looked like I had no idea what I was doing. I was completely out of shape, out of my league. Every boy and girl MR team beat me.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you're out of
And
shape. You're out of shape.
right, and I will
Um,
say, Doug, my junior year, my first year in Farmington, and Doug, you were there for this. I transferred from Orono to Farmington,
Yep.
and I thought I was hot shit. I was like, you know what? I have experience running. I was 210 pounds. I had my physical that day, and they told me you might want to hold off on the running because you are so out of shape.
Right.
And we had a 5 mile time trial.
Yep.
This is a college sport.
Yep.
And here I am, 210 pounds, and I could barely get through it. It was embarrassing to me. And it took me, Doug, as you know, 3 months to lose 40 pounds. And, but again, I didn't learn. And
No,
guys, I'm
I'm
just
the
saying,
same way. Yeah.
you have to train beforehand, before your goal, months in advance.
It's funny because how you don't learn the lesson, even though you see through your own experience the truth. Because my senior year of high school, I actually ran some during the summer because in the fall before school got out, my coach took me aside and he was like, you know, you're gonna be the captain next year, and I'm looking to you, and that really resonated with me, and so I felt some, you know, I had some skin in the game, I had some responsibility, and so I did run that summer, and I had the best cross country season by far that I had in high school. You know, I was like, you know, I like the local newspaper. You know, I was like I won, like I think it was like co-run of the year or something. But but yeah, I showed up to college out of shape. My first cross country season in college, and most of them actually, I showed up out of shape, too many pounds, and it was like you, Brett. It like just takes all season just to get into pretty good shape. When, and this goes to like the pain of these lessons that we wish we could have learned, because we know, like I know now, that had we been running consistently year round, we would have been way faster in the races that counted. But you know, they say that youth is wasted on the young, and lessons were not accounted for.
Doug,
then listened to.
It's not too late. Even when
No.
we're older, guys, you're out there and you're older, like us. It's not too late. You just have to put in the work. And I will say this, Doug, and maybe I'm wrong. I'm not wrong, actually. I'm right on this one. Winter running needs to happen. There are too many fair weather runners out there, and I understand why. But you need to get out there somehow.
Yeah.
And if it's not out there like we're doing in the cold, inside somewhere doing it, because it has to happen.
Yeah.
Winter is the least motivational season to run, but you need to do it.
Yeah, same with running in the rain too. It's like if you're really serious about your running, if it's raining, get out and run. It's different. It's thunder and lightning. That's different. That's dangerous. But if it's just raining, get out the door and get your run in. It's not gonna kill you. You're gonna get a little wet. It's actually kind of fun. It's actually fun running in the rain. But yeah. So yeah, running year round. Consistency is the key. Okay, so did you have another something? I don't know if you were talking about.
Doug, I got one more. I'm
Okay.
going to say nutrition for me was not great, high school or college. And I will say, like, it was almost a nightmare for me in high school. I mean, like, look, I mean, if you want to be a good runner, if you want to reach your goal times, you're going to have to. I'm not even saying diet. I don't believe in diets. I believe in just like majority of decent food. Like, do I indulge? I absolutely do. I still do. I love food. I love bad food. All right, right. I like bad things. But I will say that if 85 to 90% of your diet is consistently nutritional, especially for runners, and I would look up types of foods for runners. We've already discussed this, Doug, in a previous episode.
Yep.
But go back to our episode about nutrition, or go on your own if you didn't like that episode and find out what's decent food for runners. Because if you want to feel good during your run, if you wanted to reach that goal time, you need to start eating well majority of the time.
Yeah, I mean, it just makes sense. It's like your body is a machine, and if you give it quality fuel, it's going to perform better than if you give it junk. I remember you used to eat those, those like candied like fake fruit stick things that you can get at like gas stations and stuff. I feel I don't know, Hostess
Fake
maybe, but
fruit.
yeah, they get like this like glaze over them, and they're like about yay
Oh,
big.
the pies.
Yeah, the pies. I remember you
Oh,
used to eat those.
oh, girl, I still eat that.
Oh, you
Hostess pies.
yeah, Hostess pies.
Oh my God, I still devour those things. If I'm like having a bad day, oh my God, I'll go to the store. I'll buy a box of those Hostess cherry pies,
Oh god, yeah.
and I will just devour. I love those.
Oh man. Um,
Oh, and Doug, don't tell me about my nutrition during college, because we both know that what we did,
oh yeah, oh
in
yeah,
terms of
yeah.
our
That's true.
nutrition.
I know. I remember those pies though. They just stood out to me.
Oh, I
I
love
had
them
to mention.
still.
Yeah.
My only love.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll move on to my next one. My next one is that I wish I knew is that you really have got to be working on all aspects of your fitness at all times. Different, you stress different things at different parts of the season as a race approaches, but really year round. Yes, I do think a period where you're just doing easy mileage, I do think that is appropriate, especially if it's following a period where you have been running, you're doing a lot of training, a lot of hard training. You might need to just refresh yourself and just run easy for a while, hit the trails or whatever. But when it comes to training, a week should not go by where you're not hitting all the different paces, where you're not doing easy running. Every week you should be able to say, I did some easy running. I did some tempo-esque, half marathon to marathon pace stuff where I'm kind of, picking it up a little bit. I sprinted, I ran fast. You should be able to say that after every week, because our fitness is a lot more complicated than many of us realize, and everything's interrelated. If you work on your speed, that's going to help you on your long runs because your form's going to be better. It's going to feel easier in comparison. Everything's interrelated. So I wish I would have known earlier too that you can't get by just focusing on one thing and then just quickly doing a workout or two to bring everything else up to speed. No, year round you got to work on everything. And there is a major training philosophy of like heavily periodized training, which is the regimented aerobic base, strength, speed, race prep / taper. But even in those systems, I think for the most part, you are touching on things through each mesocycle or cycle. It's just that there's a focus. But I've become more and more of a fan of more what's called complex training, which is it's just every week you're doing something. And I do think too that prevents you from getting injured when you do start certain type of workouts, because you have touched on those paces. Your body's more able to handle the higher paces. So I wish I just would have known that. And like me, I think when you're a self-coached runner, you do what you like, because nobody's telling you nobody's forcing you or telling you to do otherwise.
Do what you.
I like easy running for long periods of time. That's what I enjoy. And if I could, have it my way, I would do that all the time. But to get fitter and faster when it comes to race time, can't just do that. You got to do everything. You got to work on speed. You got to work on strength. And I think that one of the the key to most runners' improvement. Look at your past training weeks and see what type of training are you avoiding or minimizing. That's the kind of training that's going to actually give you the most improvement if you do it. So for me, a long time that was speed work, stuff like that. So feel pretty passionately about that one. And did you have any thoughts on that one specifically, Brett?
Yeah, Doug. I mean, like, for me, everybody, I've kind of figured out during this whole lockdown Corona thing, like things that I just avoided doing when I ran beforehand. Um, Especially running from training for marathons, I didn't do much core at all.
Mm.
I was skinnier, but my body was just skinny. And for me, I figured out three things that I've done in the past 4 months that has elevated my running, and that when we finally get back to actual races, I'm going to be even faster than I was 10 years ago. Like, and these are the three things that Doug kind of touched upon. Part of it is number one, pre-stretching and pre-core. A little bit of core before and a little bit of stretching before. I say about 50 minutes total of these things. Number two, as Doug said, speed workouts, even accelerations. If you don't have any actual workouts in mind, guys,
Yeah, it doesn't
I
take
would say
much.
that
It doesn't take
no,
much.
I would like Doug. For instance, for me in the past 2 weeks, I've done accelerations throughout my runs, and I'm saying that, guys, 10 seconds to a minute, whatever you want, but just throughout your run, accelerate. I'm not saying full speed.
Like
We're
5K
not
effort.
saying full speed.
Yeah.
I would say you are accelerating, but you're still breathing fairly well. And number three, post run stretching and core. I'm telling you right now, and again, core, everybody, for me in the past 4 months, it's been um, my things have been sit-ups, planks, squats, lunges, um, jumping jacks, and also weights. These things have improved my body as well as my run. I'm telling you right now, I've avoided it for years, and it killed me.
Yeah.
So things I wish I would have known since high school, I would say that these are the things: stretching, core, and weights.
Yeah. Strength training too. If you're trying to lose weight, strength training is going to help up there a lot. It's been proven that it gives your metabolism a boost even when you're not exercising. I
Right.
think it kind of forces your body to shed some pounds. So that's it from me for the main topic. So let's go ahead and talk about our. It worked. Okay, it worked. It worked. The miles ahead.
The
So,
miles ahead.
so I mentioned this before, but basically for me, it's just a gradual increase in mileage to make sure that my ankle's doing okay. I did 30 minutes today. I'll probably do 40 minutes tomorrow. Maybe take a day off and kind of take it easy for another week and just gradually get back. But what about you? Well,
I
you mentioned
think,
you're gonna
Doug,
be boosting. You're gonna be boosting the mileage. You said,
I'm
right?
going to boost it up a little bit. I'd say about a mile per day. And also, I say about speed workouts. And again, guys, it could be an actual set speed workout or just accelerations. The key to get faster is also to get your body in shape, to lose weight. All these things, you have to use speed. You have to accelerate your speed. And I would say that, Doug, twice a week, I'm going to focus out of those 6 days a week of running on speed workouts.
Wow,
Um,
twice a week.
and yep, twice a week, as well as again expanding my weight training a little bit more, as well as my core. And that's going to be me for the next week or so.
Damn. Yeah, a lot of people, with a touch on the speed, a lot of people don't realize that running fast is a skill, and it's not just about like struggling harder to run faster. That's not what makes you faster. It's it's fitness, but also running fast is a skill. I mean, go ahead and look at a track rate, like a high level pro track race. Do those guys or gals look like they're running hard? Like look like they're like they might at the end, yeah, they might when they're like kicking, but for the most part, they look fluid. They look effortless, right? If you look at Eliud Kipchoge, right, the great marathon world record holder, he's running at 4 minutes whatever a mile for 26.2 miles. Does he look like he's running that fast? No. He
No.
looks like he's just out for like a little run. But if we tried to, your average Joe off the street tried to run that pace, and they'd be like, neck, arteries pop, veins popping out of their neck, going to cardiac arrest. Running fast is a skill, and like any skill, if you want to get better at it, you've got to practice it, and that's where speed training comes in. So speed training, definitely important. Brett, are you still eyeing that MDI marathon in? Is it in the fall? Is it still happening?
Honestly, Doug, I'm kind of thinking that. I mean, I hope it happens, but my motivation right now, I don't know. I'm unsure of it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it will happen or not.
Have you ever thought about making a shorter race, like a 5K or 10K, your like goal race?
Absolutely, if there was some that are going to be held. I mean, like
Yeah,
anything
well,
right
yeah.
now, to me, anything right now, Doug, I'd be okay with.
Yeah. It just kind of seems to be like going along with what we're talking about, where speed's important. Seems to be a good strategy to make it like a 5K your target race, and then after you train for that, then maybe you transition to focusing on a marathon.
Right.
So
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
yeah,
I think you're right.
yeah,
It all depends upon what's going to be available in the fall, you know?
yeah. Oh yeah, I know. Or yeah, I was gonna say or the spring because I don't know how long this whole thing is gonna last. Nobody does. But I hope everybody is getting out there and getting their miles in, and we're trying to. And just to give you guys kind of like a sneak peek, I'm actually going to be in Maine starting next week.
Ow, ow.
So at the end of July, Brett and I are going to try to get together and do. I don't think it'll be live. We might have to pre-record it, but doing a show basically where we're running and see how that goes. So you guys will get to see us in our element. So we're going to give that a try. But the show will still go on. I'm going to be set up to produce it where I'm going to be, but things will probably go a lot better than they've been going today. But anyway, any final words, Brett, before we wrap up the stream?
Nothing, Doug. Guys, next week, check us out. Next Wednesday again. Right, Doug?
Yeah, 9 p.m.
And,
Eastern.
and
Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel. Sign up for the bell
subscribe to our
icon.
channel. We need more viewers, everybody. If you have any questions, now's the last chance, I guess, to ask before we sign off. Right, Doug?
Yep. And I'm not seeing any, so we're gonna go ahead. None. So we're
Damn,
gonna,
okay.
yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and end the stream until next Wednesday. Take care, everybody.